BizFocus, feeling China's economic pulse. We are right here at the Shanghai Grand Theater. Well, as you mentioned, we chose this location because today we are going to talk about China's performing arts industry. Just 2 days ago, the Mandarin production of the very famous musical classic, The Phantom of Opera, was premiered right here. Before we go deeper into the topic, let's head backstage. At the Shanghai Grand Theater, we meet Danny Barry, a top choreographer leading a dance rehearsal. Barry has been involved in over a dozen languages of the classical musical The Phantom of the Opera. But it's her first time in China. The Mandarin version of The Phantom of the Opera was originally scheduled for 2020, but the pandemic disrupted those plans.
It's been hard for everybody all over the world, and to have the shows bubbling back, one here, one there, it's really exciting, so exciting for the theater industry to get back on its feet. And it's doubly exciting to do a fresh, brand new production in a place, in a language where it's never been done before.
As an all-time classic, The Phantom of the Opera has earned $6 billion in box offices worldwide. And the Mandarin production sees an iconic musical now performed in its 18th language. The Mandarin version premiered during the Labor Day holiday at the Shanghai Grand Theater, and the national tour will last until 2024. A year ago, theaters were having a very hard time. Shows were being cancelled, and there were even limits on seating capacity. But now, things have clearly changed. Here, the Shanghai Grand Theater is fully prepared to welcome audiences back. Zhang Xiaoding, general manager of the Shanghai Grand Theater, says over 600 shows are expected to be held at the venue this year alone. Seeing so many audience members back at their seats in recent months, Zhang says the norm for theaters has well and truly returned.
我们在疫情3年期间。
Our running schedule was uncertain during the past 3 years. We were pushed to suspend performances and schedule our performance at a seating capacity of 30%. Seeing such a strong comeback this year, I think we'll be busier in the following days, but we're happy to be busy.
In March alone, Shanghai held over 900 performances, a more than 75% increase from the same period in 2019. And this figure is only expected to become larger with more and more productions returning to the stage. Well, I still remember my first time watching The Phantom of Opera was actually years ago at Broadway in New York. But because of the pandemic, after running it for more than 3 decades, the show, the great grand production, has ended its run in the Big Apple. But now the premiere of the Mandarin production of The Phantom of Opera is a signal that China is emerging from the pandemic. Not only foreign productions, Shanghai has also been seeing a lot of domestic productions too. And in Shanghai, there's an office building home to 19 little theaters. Take a look. Where I am is most crowded commercial area in Shanghai, People's Square. And this building is called Asia Mansion. Inside this building, there are over a dozen of theaters. And here is my ticket. I'm going to take you to watch one show tonight. Let's go. This is a stage play recomposed from the British comedy Run for Your Wife. It's not a big theater. Stage props are set in here permanently. Over 70 audiences can be accommodated each time. Most actors and actresses are young, and most audiences who come to the Asia Mansion are young people too. These audiences don't care about whether it's a big production or not.
I care more about content, plots, actors, and qualities of performances and songs.
I'll pay more attention to content. If it's a music drama, I care more about the songs.
The production is quite good, and tickets price are suitable, so I come often.
Run for Your Wife is run by performance company Focal Stage and has 4 little theaters at the Asia Mansion. The company's founder Han Kun takes me to the first one is set up here.
对。
这是什么时候那个建？
我们是2020年8月28号开业的。对。
This theater is also the first little theater at a mansion. Han Kun told me performance is not an easy business, but such a mode of setting up its own theaters saves a lot.
在这样一个环境里不断的进行演。
We perform here all the time. Think about it, I spent money once to decorate, but I've performed 700 times. I don't need to find money to demolish the props and put them together again. It's more lucrative for us.
说肯定就是更划算一点。
There are a total of 19 little theaters inside the Asia mansion. At peak times, 2,000 or 3,000 audiences came here to watch plays. The operator of these theaters has rented nearly half of the office space at the mansion.
While we were in development, we found more theaters are gathering, more social effects will be created, and more audiences will come. Actors, creators, and people in this industry hope to be together to communicate and perform too.
Well, for more, I'm very glad to be joined by Zhao Chenlin, producer of the Mandarin production of The Phantom of Opera, who has also been working in the theater industry for years. So I know the first couple sessions of The Phantom of Opera all sold out. So did you expect such enthusiasm from Chinese audiences?
Yes, Phantom of the Opera is always one of the kind of like most famous and loved musical in China, as elsewhere in the world as well. And so we are really happy that the Chinese audience love the musical so much.
So we know the pandemic has actually brought many challenges to the theater industry. So do you think people's demand in watching shows have also been changing over the past 3 years?
A little bit. In the last 3 years, because international productions cannot come in, and so there are more local productions and local works happening. And there is a younger generation of audience are getting into theater as well. So actually, I think it's a very positive thing. And now we have more audience for the theater.
So as the two story mentioned, now we have foreign productions such as The Phantom of the Opera. Now we also have domestic shows such as those at Asia Mansion. So do you think in the future the two actually will be competing with each other?
Not really. I really think there is a large enough market for both production or even for more productions and to exist at the same time. And actually what we discover is like the more kind of like great work audience has access to, the more kind of like love they will grow with theater. And so I think actually that will encourage more people to get into theater venues.
Yes, but we are talking about Shanghai. So do you think lower tier cities will probably have larger potential to expand in the future?
Definitely. China is so big, and obviously at the moment Shanghai is the top market for theater in China. However, on tour we will be able to, for example, with Phantom, we will be able to go to like 10 more cities and do an all year long tour with Phantom. And we definitely see more potential and more market and more audience in those cities.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Chenlin, for your time. Well, some industry insiders who I've talked to say Shanghai still needs to do more in boosting the theater industry. And indeed, Shanghai has been putting a lot of efforts in building new theaters and introducing more productions to the town. And just during the Labor Day holiday, more than 300 cultural products have been introduced in town to attract tourists. And now with COVID restrictions lifted and now with audiences back to their seats, it's the time for the performing arts industry to take center stage.